All right, how's it going, everybody? Let's continue on with the book of Daniel. So then I lifted up mine eyes. Remember, this is written in the King's English of the late 1500s, early 1600s style of language. So we got to love it for its poetry's sake. And lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had two horns, and the two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. And I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great. You know what I want to do? I've never read this in the New Living before. Um, let's attack it there. What do you say? And just for curiosity's sake, it is the watered down. It's my favorite of the false translations or the watered down translations. Only the King James doesn't leave out um, Bible verses and so forth. Let's go down and read this. As I looked up, I saw a ram with two long horns standing beside the river. One of the horns was longer than the other, even though it had grown later than the other one. The ram butted everyone out of his way to the west, to the north, and to the south, but no one could stand against him or help his victims. He did as he pleased and became very great. While I was watching, suddenly a male goat appeared from the west, crossing the land so swiftly that he didn't even. Now, when the Rams played Tom Brady, the GOAT, that was a big deal. When did the Rams play Tom Brady in the Super Bowl? So they played twice. Hang on just a quick second. Yeah, I wanted to note those for my next video. Notice both February 3rd. This represents Rising Day because in the 3-day Groundhog Day event, he was stuck until he rose again or moving forward. So the movie was February 1st through February 3rd. The movie Groundhog Day was February 1st through February 3rd. Takes place on February 2nd. Well, remember he woke up the next day, so I guess it was a bad search. Uh, once again, the AI not wanting to play games, not wanting to play ball with us. Hopefully, you saw yesterday's study where it wouldn't answer 3 and 4 times. The Groundhog Day covers a span of 3 days. We'll reword it differently. And yes, that is exactly correct. February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Okay. That represents death and rising, rising on the 3rd day. The 1st day, the 2nd day, and rose on the 3rd day, February 3rd. So, yeah, yeah. I remember when they played in 2019, I said this is a replica of, because they called Tom Brady the GOAT. And Tom Brady was only the GOAT in that second one, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, what happened here? Yeah. All right. Let's go back to the King James. And I was considering, behold, and he goat came up. I don't think I skipped anything, did we? Yeah, verse 5. And I was considering, behold, and he goat came up from the west and on the face of the whole earth, and he touched not the ground, The goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had two horns. Now, rams are sheep. I don't know if this is a representation of the church, but a ram is a sheep. A ram is a form of a sheep. I think it's like a male sheep or something. Exactly. A ram is an adult, intact male sheep. Got it. Get it. Got it. Good. All right. There we go. So, is it representing the church? And he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river. All I could say is that the two horns that stood up would have been Adam and then Jesus. How the one that came second stood taller spiritually. Ran into him in the fury of, okay, and he came to the ram that had the two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran into him in a fury of his power. And I saw him come close to the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns. And Jesus did die, and Adam died. I'm not saying that's what this is. I'm just thinking out loud to see if the theory even could hold water. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. And he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Could still theoretically be talking about the crucifixion of Jesus. Therefore, the he goat waxed very great, talking about Mystery Babylon, that spirit, that city, and Satan, the shape-shifting to the goddess. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. Now, again, that could be Babylonian, Medes and Persians, Grecian, and Roman empires. And that is it for today's study in that column, column 4. Continuing on in Matthew, the same day went Jesus out of the house and sat by the sea side. And great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that when he went into a ship and sat, the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth, the parable of the sower and the seeds. I saw this in real time. I saw somebody teaching the Word of God, and then later not believe in the Bible at all as being anything real in the sense of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is the sovereign God. That, yeah, they were like, well, the Bible's just metaphoric for the human body, and you know, I've seen the parable of the sower and the seeds in real time, where you had a little, you were there for a while, but then faded away. That's a scary proposition, and it shows how powerful the Lord is. So the same day went forth to sow, and when he sowed, some of the seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell on stony places where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no depth of the earth, or as it says, deepness. Now, we're not going to get to the whole explanation of this. I think this might be a 3-day study. Probably really, well, I can skim it. Um, kingdom brought men. Oh, I'm sorry. I never turned the page. That would sure help a lot. And fulfilled, receive. So yeah, it won't get completely explained until the Friday study. Good Lord willing, we get to that. Yeah. Yeah. It labors into when one heareth the word, hear ye themselves the parable. I tell you what we'll do. We will cut that. I'm not going to be able to go column by column exactly because this has to be cut a certain way so we can definitely get to the complete explanation. Yes, yes, yes. Hang on, let me mark that. Because the Lord executes or gives the parable, and then he starts speaking to the scribes and Pharisees, and then he then executes the description of the parable. So in it covers 3 columns of my dad's old King James, so it'll cover today's Bible study and good Lord willing the Thursday and the Friday study. Or yeah, I think on the Thursday study it won't even talk about parable of the sower and the seeds. Unless, yeah. Anyway, and the sun was up, and when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. So another set of seeds were the first set burnt up. And some fell among thorns and sprung up, and the thorns choked them. But others fell on good ground. Hey, the sheep! And brought forth fruit. Sheep bear fruit. They are salt, they are light. They have the world beaten out of them, so they come out of the world. No pagan holidays, no bad stuff on the internet, no fornication, cursing, dirty jokes, all of that. They are set apart. So they brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. So, some at the highest levels are doing 100%. Some are doing 60%, but some sheep are executing 30% of bearing fruit. And what that would mean, in my opinion, I think, is the 100-fold would be men who speak out. The 60 and the 30, I think, would be the forms of women, because women don't have the same calling. Mary and Mary and Mary and Elizabeth, they weren't persecuted. Now it's not like women weren't persecuted in the Roman Empire. You know, uh, being thrown to the lions and all that stuff. I think women were definitely involved in that, but that's just because they were part of the church. But they don't have the same calling, and they would have been part of 100-fold. But a lot of sheep women, they just lay low and support their man. They don't run around making enemies with people like the males would do when they speak out, exposing the evil on the earth, in false teaching, basically. Yeah. So, who have ears to hear, let them hear. And all sheep do. And the disciples came up and said, Why speakest unto them in parables? So now we're going to get off the parable. And we're going to stay off of it in the Thursday study. And then we'll get back to then Jesus will go and give an explanation in the Good Lord willing Friday study. I'm glad you're here. I love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.